Welcome on in, everyone. It's your favorite time of the week. It's Tech Friday. Yay. Big intro here. Someone may be going like this, and another person looking at a device, other things. And then it cuts back to me, where I say something like, camera, please focus on me. Focus. Are we doing this trick again? Yeah, there we go. Okay, camera. You good? We're good. Yeah. All right. So today on the show, Google being evil 5 hits, everything Apple announced at WWDC, and video games. So many video games. Let's get into it. Don't know where I was going with that one, but let's get into it. Yeah. So first up, Google being evil 5 hits. Right. So you may have gotten an email message if you use Gmail services about some changes coming to new privacy settings for search services. And there's a couple things you need to go turn off to not train AI. Do they directly tell you that's what these changes are for? Nope. So here's where you need to go. At myactivity.google.com/search-services/settings. I know that's a lot. Go there. Turn that off. And also, you want to go to google.com search-personalization and turn off everything there as well. And that will keep the AI away. So do those things. You can do it now, even if you didn't get the official Google email. Just go there, do the things, turn it off, do it now. All right, other Google news. Did the things, yay! YouTube has a new service up, YouTube Messaging. There's a link to the official blog. So they're expanding, this happened on June 10th, they're expanding their in-app video sharing and messaging feature to the US and other global locations. So if you're 18 and over, you can connect with your favorite videos directly on YouTube. So basically you take whatever you're watching, simply click the new message icon directly in the YouTube app and send it to another person's YouTube account and say, hey, look at this. Useful? I have no idea. I don't connect with people in that way on YouTube. I connect through my comment section on my videos and stuff, and then I share things in my Discord or on Blue Sky. But if you find it useful, hey, it's there. Feel free to use it and let me know your experience with it. Probably not going into my use cases anytime soon. All right, moving along, going into Apple and WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference, a yearly event where Apple focuses on, hey, here's the new stuff that we're doing with our software. So people, here's what's coming to your devices. Developers, here's what to look forward to using in your apps and everything else. They announced several OS improvements with Mac OS 27 Golden Gate, and they are also updating all their OSs to version 27, so iPad OS and Watch OS and all that. But they do have some things coming up, a few changes. So Ars Technica had a nice article outlining the changes in Mac OS 27, and we'll get to all the Siri's AI stuff in a little bit. As it said, Apple Intelligence and Siri AI have sucked most of the oxygen out of the room, but there are some neat things coming to Mac, and mostly this update seemed to be focused on improvements more than some sort of big sweeping change, like changing liquid glass around. You can see here they have a display. You can change the transparency of it. Oh, here's the thing in Golden Gate. Can change transparency, the tinted direction, things like that. So if you didn't like the Google or the liquid glass effect, you can now tweak that, and there's a bunch of tweets, and they also have more rounded corners and a consistent rounded corner experience across all applications. And that's just a nice little quality of life thing that, it's a background thing, but I think when you have when you can have a similar experience across the operating system, it's sort of mentally appreciated. There's a new external display support, adding native support for up to 5K ultra-wide displays. We have some changes coming to the menu bar icons, battery life, all that fun stuff. Virtualization changes, if that's something you use. And as I indicated earlier, a pile of little performance improvements. There's a ton of things going on in the background just to make things faster, easier to use, and all that. And then this article on Ars Technica goes into other things they still would like. But yeah, that's everything coming to just the Mac OS 27, which all looks to be fantastic. And they also, now with iOS or Mac OS 27 and everything, they're kind of dropping Intel chip compatibility, so you'll need to use most of these features. I don't think Siri AI will work on the M1 chips, but to use most of the new features coming, you do need an M series MacBook. I wonder if people will be, those who still have Intel Macs will be that upset as Microsoft users having to switch from Windows 10 to Windows 11. My guess is probably not, because, it's a smaller user base, and sometimes Apple is just, they're like, oh yeah, it's Apple, it's what they do, and then the comparison loses all point. They also announced a bunch of child safety features, more to be within EU guidelines and things like that, but there's a little tension between when it comes to Siri AI and other governments, but they do have more child safety features, so they're doing one thing and working on getting their Siri AI approved across all countries as well, or as many as possible. So we have a review of everything happened with Tom over on Tom's Guide, and let me get down into the thing. So yeah, see that, look at that article on Tom's Guide if you want a complete overview of everything that happened during WWDC. We saw a demo where the person on screen asked Siri to do a thing, and then we saw Siri in another view. There was a camera on the iPhone the person was using, showing us in what we would guess is real time. Again, it's edited video, so who knows, but apparently real time, how long it took for Siri to respond to a request. And their big thing with all of this that they mentioned over and over, which was, this is Siri AI is local, and it only goes to the cloud when it needs to, and Apple is saying this is all private, nobody gets to see it, not even Apple. We have security in place to do that. And so the demo was, the guy asking for pictures of just showing pictures of certain people, and so it worked. It did that, and there is a bunch of demos like that there. Hey Rex, sure Jan, right? And so, will any of this work? We have no idea. Will it actually work as promised? We'll find all that out in the fall. Will people actually glom onto it? Will they be able to look at the security, see that it's local, see that the cloud thing they say is secure as indicated? No idea. And that won't be answered until they release the hardware to go along with the software, and people can actually start looking at and testing these things. And this is one thing, and we talked a bit about this last week, where I kind of wanted the thing we call AI, which again, I still don't like calling these things AI because they're just not. But these things we call AI, this is over the past couple of weeks, the announcements that we've gotten from Microsoft Build and Apple are kind of where I wish we were able to have started with AI. People going, hey, there's this blob on your computer. Hey, there's this really efficient chip in the case of NVIDIA that will do these things. Right? And this blob of code will do all these neat things for you. You just ask it, and it's on your machine, or it's completely secure, right? It doesn't go out and talk to anyone. And I think we would be having a completely different conversation today about AI, except tech bros came in and just shoved it all into everybody's faces and thought that was the best way to go through it, thus creating a thievery machine to take away from creatives. And so now all this neat stuff gets kind of piled on all this other thing because tech bros were greedy and thought, hey, we should just pull this out and no one's rights around it matters. We just do it because some of these things that I see what we're calling AI can do would probably be pretty useful. You know, a little blob that sits somewhere on my computer. It's not taking up data center space. It's just, you know, my computer and its processor doing its best it can, doing some of the advanced things that you can do with AI, you know, like organize this for me because you know, I have 500 entries here and going through this will take me a long time. But Rex, I am so angry about what it could be used for versus what is being marketed as able to do and the terrible cost that goes with it. Yes, that exactly. There are also use cases in the disabled community where it can really help out because there's all sorts of things, right? We now have agentic AI. We have different words that attached to AI as well. And again, who can we blame for the evils of the world? Rich people like tech bros. Exactly. And to kind of go along with this, some people wonder, well, Apple's kind of behind in the AI game, but I think Siri, this advancement to Siri, if they work as promised, they'll really catch up. And if their presentation is to be believed, they were thoughtful about the implementation of it and focusing on privacy. Now, the issue with, I believe it's the EU, that EU has with Siri is that since Apple has this locked for our privacy, the EU's going, we don't like that. We can't look at what's going on here, so we don't know if we like that. And that's my understanding of what's kind of going on in very general terms. Again, I can't dig into all of that all the way down. It's not my sphere of expertise. So in wanting to have a more open system around things, which is on one hand good, but also there's a tendency that the EU might possibly going too far and saying, Apple, you need to open your doors a little, which, you know, people don't like the walled garden of Apple anyway, but I've said this before, that's really less of a thing more so now than it ever has been. I use Obsidian for everything. I can put it on my Mac, no problem. On my MacBook Air. Most of the things I use are multiple operating systems. I can put in the software I need to run right on my MacBook. Everything runs, everything looks good. You know, they have all the design elements, everything that goes into considered Apple product. And again, will any of this work? Just like last week with Microsoft Build, we have no idea. So come September, November, December, we'll find out. But right now, announcements seems to be neat. And there is something about the presentation that really bothered me. And this is mainly a DC thing because it has to do with the video production part of it. They showed outside shots and things like that. And they clearly used ADR, which is automated dialogue replacement, or sometimes I've heard it automatic dialogue recording, but automated dialogue replacement is probably the term you're looking for. And so you're on a film set, you're recording outside. The outside is noisy, and you might not always get all the dialogue, you know, the actor's line might not come through right. So they go into the studio, they say the line again, they match it up, they put background noises underneath it to make it sound like the outside, the inside, wherever, you know, and you could tell the audio was just a little off, a tiny bit off in places. And it was all one consistent thing. Well, what bothered me, and again, it's like the YouTuber holding the clip-on mic thing. It's one of those issues. Is that they're clearly outside in some shots, but they don't bother adding in any of the background noise to make it sound like outside, like a bit of leaves rustling or everything. And this bothered me to no end. I'm like, you're Apple. Surely you edited this. You can add in those little sounds. You just say quiet on set to record sound for 30 seconds. And then you loop it. No one notices. And so I noticed. I'm like, you're outside. Why doesn't it sound like you're outside? Because they didn't add back in background audio. You know, they can get sound effects and add in just a little bit, right? You don't have to really, doesn't have to be loud enough to notice, but it has to be there. And I get why you would do it. They wanted it to all sound the same, so you had a consistent experience if you're just listening to it. So the environment they were in really didn't matter. But if you're showing me somebody outside, I kind of want to hear that they're outside. I want a little indication of that. I want a little bird chirp, something. Let me hear the footsteps on the ground. Otherwise, you're walking and I don't hear footsteps. I'm like, what is going on? So again, that's just a thing that gets to me, just a DC thing. But anyway, every time they switch to an outside shot, I'm like, wait, this doesn't sound right. I'm seeing the outside, but I'm not hearing the outside. Why? All right. So, next up, let's talk video games, because, oh boy, were there a lot of fests. There were Game Fest on top of Game Fest on top of Game Fest and a Nintendo Direct. So many things. So I thought I would go through a few things that I put on my wish list recently. So one that is out now, because they announced their version 1.0, is Realm of Ink. I really like the look of this, and there's the Steam page for it. It looks great. Realm of Ink is an Ink-style action roguelike game. While pursuing the fox demon, the swordswoman Red unexpectedly finds that her life is dictated by the destiny within the world of the book. Only by breaking free can she unveil the truth of her existence and challenge the constraints of fate. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. And then Ding Eye, the Ocean Pillar. I'm not quite sure how to say that. That was another one. That looked pretty good. This is an RPG roguelike, and one that caught my eye was Model Kit Studio, where you build models like Gunplum models, except it's all virtual. So you cut the pieces out of a runner like you would in real life, and then you put them together. So there's a link to that. That looks like it'd be fun. Now I can be frustrated with plastic in a virtual setting. Yeah, yay. Of course I'm going to try this, so that planned release for next year. I was trying to work out a joke about it's Summer Games Fest Miracle, right? One of my favorite games ever, Vampire Survivors, announced new DLC. They came out with new DLC, and they announced new DLC. This content coming out is called Legacy of the Blood Moon. You can see what it's all about there. Then some other ones like Airship 2, Kingdoms of Blaze, Carrier Cuties, Pets in Mechs, which it is a PvP thing, but you know, you're animals in mech suits and you fight each other. But you're animals in mech suits. Well, I'm not big on PvP games. I am big on animals in mech suits. And let's see, any other games? There's a few here I was curious about. Oh, Dragon Shelter, where you raise dragons and they do things with you. Yes, please. That's all right there. All right, and we'll talk more about video games a little later on if you're watching live during the second half of the show. But I do want to move on to a couple TTRPG things. As mentioned last week, Devin Rue, the matriarch of maps, they have the Dicey map set up on their Ko-fi, Coffee place. It's only 25 bucks. It's some dice and a card, and mine came in. So here's the die. Oh, I gotta turn off my green screen. Hold on. All right. So here's the dice in their package. Let's open it up, hey? So you pick somewhere on your map to start. And you roll the D20, which has different symbols on it. What do these symbols mean? Well, there's an included card that tells you what they mean. So you roll the D20, and you get one of these, and then you also take a D4, not included in the set, which is fine. You take a D4, you roll that, and that determines how big it is. So whether it's 1 is tiny, 2 is medium, 3 is large, 4 is a huge area on your map. And how big that is up to you. How large the tiny area is up to you. And then after you fill in that, what you do next is you roll this directional D8, has all the directions on it. 8 directions, D8, yeah. And wherever that comes up, that's where you roll the D20, and that's where you put the next thing. And you just keep doing that until, as it says on the how to use, repeat steps 1 to 5 until you run out of space and or are happy with the map you have created. So yeah, this is pretty cool. It's only $25. Highly encourage it. Great. I love the little, hey, here's what all the symbols mean on the D20, and they're easy to draw in. They're not overly complicated symbols. I think they are very beginner drawing friendly. Yeah, it's a different way to make maps. And I was very happy to get it. Let's turn green screen back on. There we go. And also, TTRPG stuff from Serious Dice unveils pictures of a new chunky 55mm D20. That's Thumberchud from the D&D movie. As you can see, it's big, and they've retail release date has been updated as well. Cast in clear resin. It should roll well on a tabletop according to this. And let's see what images we can get. So there he is inside the D20, top the gold pile. Yes, hi. All right. Kitty needs attention. Come here. Hi. Yeah. Oh, where do you think you're going? No. Okay. Hold on. Relax. There you go. All right. So go back to the die here. As you can see, sitting on the gold pile. Big old D20. Looks amazing. That's it for Tech Friday this week. If you're watching along on YouTube, thanks for being here. And I'll see you next week for yet another Tech Friday.